All right, hello everyone, welcome back. Last time we covered Soulframe was a few months ago, back during TennoCon, when they revealed some extended gameplay footage, which unfortunately got a rather poor reception, if you don't recall. Now this was
Yes, it got a very poor reception. I watched it, I seen the reaction, and you know, I was there for um Asmon's gold reaction, which I agreed a lot with his reaction and stuff. The combat just seemed like very floaty. The animations were bad, you know, and if you ever played Warframe, you would know why. You would know why. But this video is called "They Fixed Soulframe." This game does look very interesting to me, so let's see what they've done.
mainly due to there being quite a few rough and buggy looking animations throughout the whole video. Even with those issues, there was a lot I liked about the reveal. The tone and setting, the characters and the environment, and just the general structure of the game that they were showing, what they're working on. To me, much of this was appealing, but at the same time, yeah, janky combat animations, floaty character movement, NPCs glitching through the terrain, and a handful of other things were quite rough in a few spots, no doubt about it. Well, over the past months, on a few occasions, they have been directly addressing much of this feedback.
This game looks so cool. Like, I'm very interested. Let me know in the comments if you are. Like, it looks so cool. I just hope they did fix all that stuff and it will be fixed before it comes out.
And based on what we are seeing here, it looks like they're actually making steps in the right direction. Combat and movement already look much better. And I mean, given that the game is still a ways out, not planned to even enter early access until later in 2025, there is still plenty of time for even further improvements. So I remain hopeful here. I'm really hoping that they turn Soulframe, or at least the public perception of Soulframe, they turn it around and the game ends up in a really good spot by the time we get our hands on it. So let's go ahead and take a look at all this new stuff, what we have learned and what they have worked on in these past few months. So the first update we got came from a devlog in mid-September, and one of the initial things they discussed right out the gate here was the fact that they have been listening to feedback and have been polishing combat, saying, "We are putting
Wonderful. Wonderful. We are putting a lot of work into updating combat. You know, there is a little bit of jank still in there, but we want to get it out. Wonderful. Listen, because I know there are uh some developers out there that listen to feedback, but there are some out there who really don't, you know. So I'm happy they're they're one of the ones that listens. Like, yes, Jank, get it out. Make the combat better and everything.
putting a lot of work into updating combat. You know, there is a little bit of jank still in there, but we want to get it out. Going on further to specify that they have done a bunch of animation updates, fine-tuning things across the board. Enemies got a hit react pass, which should help improve the sense of feedback and impact when they are struck. And then on a technical level, they've implemented a new feature called root motion warping, which extends transition animations to help eliminate the presence of sliding. Now, this was one of the bigger complaints from that gameplay reveal, where there were moments that the player character appeared to kind of be skating around the environment, and as a result didn't feel really grounded in the world. Now, as I pointed out in my last video, this whole thing reminded me very much so of Warframe, where that kind of sliding occurs quite frequently, but maybe just isn't as noticeable given the
it's not that bad, and people really don't care in Warframe because you're like space ninjas and you move like really fast. That's one of the things about Warframe. Like, you can just skate across the environments, and stuff, and kill enemies really fast. Just moving really fast and stuff. People don't mind it in that game. I mean, a lot of people probably don't play the game because of that, But when I was playing and stuff, I didn't mind it. I was like, oh, this is cool. But in a game like Soulframe, it doesn't fit. No, it needs to be taken out. Fix it. And I guess they are fixing it.
General high speed of movement and combat in that game, whereas here in Soulframe, with the speed of everything reined in quite a bit, the sliding around just sticks out way more. So this new feature, this root motion warping, is going to do things like extend the animation of a jump when leaping towards distant enemies so that there is less noticeable sliding in between those transitions and while moving around. Another thing they mentioned was that during TennoCon's showcase, there were some enemies that were falling through the mesh, essentially melting into the ground when they died, and they've since added collision to ragdolls so that this particular issue no longer happens. And when wrapping up the discussion about the combat improvements and polish that they've made, they said, preludes means pre-alpha. There is a bit of forgiveness you need to give us. Sometimes going super detailed on some combat skating, for example, is not worth it versus, say, getting the RPG progression systems in, which is kind of our goal for the next test. And I mean, he's not wrong. Fine-tuned polishing isn't the first priority in game development. In fact, oftentimes it's one of the last. But also, they chose to show the game in its current state, so they certainly did this knowingly, right? Getting feedback that an unfinished version of your game...
Yeah, that's the thing. They showed it. People are gonna say something about it, put their opinions on it. If you show it, people are gonna say something about it. They like it or don't like it, and a lot of people didn't like it, so you got to take it. And I mean, they did take it. They said they see the feedback and they're making changes on the feedback and everything. That's great, but don't give us these tears. Be like, oh well, you got to give us some leeway because it's like pre-alpha, no, it's like, well, you showed us, so we're gonna say something about it, And can I just say, I'm getting tired of these developers and stuff showing these games so early. So early, like, what, we won't even get, like, the alpha to, like, alpha or beta or whatever to, like, late 2025? Oh, why do we gotta wait so long? I'm tired of these developers showing these games that we won't even get the beta or alphas to like a year, 2 years, 3 years. It's like, stop. Show us what you're working with, uh, some months, 5 months, half a year, something at least. And just make sure you're testing the games. Get people, content creators, these just get people to test the game and stuff and everything. And people that will actually give you good feedback and stuff. This won't say, oh yeah, this is good, I'm enjoying this, and your character's over here sliding around and the enemies are clipping through the environment and stuff. Get people that will say something. But I'm just getting tired of y'all just showing these games when they're like 2 or 3 years out. Just stop, man, because I hate what, we have to wait till late 2025 to even get this game in our hands in some kind of way. I want to play it now, okay?
Game looks unfinished shouldn't be all that surprising, and mind you, I don't think they're surprised. In fact, they're not surprised at all. They've said as much, that this feedback is welcome and expected. The reaction to Soulframe's gameplay reveal is an expected side effect when showing the public footage of something this early in development. From the onset, though, they have said that their whole plan was to get the community involved as early as possible, and in that spirit, they're clearly willing to show us gameplay footage that is far from complete. And so yeah, the feedback that that the gameplay footage last time looked unpolished, had lots of issues. Not too surprising, goes without saying, and it seems like they're working on it. Now, at the end of the video, they had a quick Q&A during which we got some info. They've got multiple new weapons in queue, including a mace and greatsword, and eventually the plan is to have hundreds of different weapons and fighting styles available in the game, so there should be loads of variety here. In fact, they're even intending to add a whole lot more ranged and magic options in the future, as so far we have predominantly pretty much been seeing mostly melee. Fast travel is something that will be coming down the road when the game is big enough, which right now it really isn't. It's a fairly confined area with some dungeons inside of it, but in the meantime, they do have some additional traversal stuff like mounts being added to the game shortly. They also plan to start showcasing a lot more of the multiplayer elements of Soulframe, as they wanted to drive home that this is very much an MMO light in a similar vein to something like Destiny, where you're going to come across other players in the world with whom you can group up. But up until this point, you know, we've mostly been seeing solo gameplay footage.
Like, I love MMO lights. I do. I mean, I do get, like, you have like these interconnected like environments and stuff. Like, it's not like a traditional like MMO, but I do like, I can go here to this area and I can see like 10, 20 other people out in the environment and stuff and talk to them, maybe team up with them even, you know, to do some activities and maybe, you know, actually become friends and start doing, you know, even harder activities with them. I like that. I like that a lot. I love the whole MMO light, you know, thing. I mean, I would much rather have like a full like MMO, but you know, I like both. That's why I am in gaming and stuff.
And then they also revealed that the official forums are now live for anyone. You don't need to be part of the ongoing test in order to access these. You can just jump in and read what people are talking about. Now, as for the currently play-tested game, the people who are in the Preludes version happening right now, they mentioned adding some new content to that latest build, with more encounters, secrets, and puzzles being added to the game's dungeons, as well as more environmental clues hinting at nearby secrets and objectives that a lot of players were missing. And then following that video update last month in October, we got an hour-long live stream, which not only gave us a ton more info, but also came with a bunch of new gameplay footage as well. So they kicked things off with actually giving a sort of a brief recap of what kind of game Soulframe is, which they currently describe it as an MMO light with a dense overworld full of activities. There's progression gating, so you're going to have to complete certain tasks or reach certain levels to access different areas. They've got dungeons with procedural layouts, similar to how it's done in Warframe. You'll move through hallways and rooms and different sections that will be placed in procedural ways so that every run feels a little different. They're also calling this a fantasy looter with a big co-op and multiplayer focus. To quote here, they said, so you play it, you rank up, you get loot, you progress your character and get more powerful. You earn different packs in the game, which are kind of like our classes. Then they go on to say that they're going to be MMO-like towns or social hubs where you will see other players and talk to NPCs. It's got a time of day system as well as weather and events that take place. And at least currently in this iteration of the game's testing, it is PC only, but will be coming to consoles down the road as they get closer to official release. So that is like the high level overview. Next, they specifically talked about the feedback that they got from TennoCon and what they've been doing to address it. Most of which was just sort of a rehashing of what we covered from the prior video. But there is a blurb here pulled from recent patch notes that I think puts a bow on this whole topic in terms of what they've been doing. So they say that combat continues to undergo reworks, focusing on smoother transitions, improved hit reactions, and enhanced visuals and mechanical clarity of attacks. Expect less sliding, reduced clipping, and more grounded, connected movement with refined root motion warping tied to lock-on targeting. AI combat has seen improvements with enhanced ragdoll physics and increased responsiveness and fluidity. So there you go. Again, kind of puts a bow on the whole thing. These are all the things that they've worked on in the months since that gameplay reveal. And from what we've seen, it does look much better. During the live stream, they also reiterated the fact that the game is still in early production and that any feedback is welcome, saying, I think the big thing is that we are in pre-alpha. Some of the really negative feedback I got was like, what are you doing? And the answer is, we actually want to hear the good and the bad up front. The worst thing that we could do, at least in terms of how DE works, is to go dark for a very long period of time. So we're going to be showing you warts and all. Going on to add that
I love it. I love that statement. Like, they care. And like I said, I love it. I don't know if you do or not. Let me know in the comments. But I just love hearing them acknowledging, like, the problems. And, hey, we're going to fix it. We're working on it. We can show you that we're working on it. And you can see with the gameplay and stuff, it looks a lot better.
This really is the point of this pre-alpha testing and of showing these gameplay videos early on to get that player feedback on issues and concerns as soon as possible. And so, you know, this is great, honestly. Clearly, they're not shy about showing off the game that's still a work in progress. In fact, in this very stream, there were multiple points with bugs, glitches, and stuff occurring, like NPCs not acting properly, animations bugging out, characters all over the place, not where they're supposed to be. In fact, the game even hard crashed at one point during the stream. So they're not shying away from the fact that the game still has a lot of work to be done. And as far as I'm concerned, let them cook. Make the game as good as it can be. I'll play it in 2025 when it's more polished and finished, right? Now, best of all from the stream, though, was the fact that they had gameplay running in the background for like a solid 45 minutes, during which we got a much better sense of how the open world is structured, as well as getting a closer look at those updates to combat. So the gameplay showcase featured a pair of players walking around, exploring, and doing a few things. Forgive the quality here, by the way. The stream itself was capped at 1080p, the bitrate wasn't great, and the whole thing was cropped, making it even smaller. So this stuff is going to look very muddy, just how it is with the video quality that we got. So during these 45 minutes, we saw the pair clearing some camps of enemies, at which point, yes, we got a good look at the combat in action, and it does look a lot smoother than it did in that showcase during TennoCon. We saw them collecting loot by opening these chests. We saw them rescuing caged animals and setting them free. They completed a couple of public events. They came across a town at one point. They visited the Nightfold a few times, which this is basically like your home base where you've got crafting vendors. You can visit them whenever you're not in combat. It's got this cool transition animation of you doing like a trust fall into the ground and then appearing in this area. And yeah, you unlock NPCs as you play, getting access to their stations and locations, giving you more systems to play with. In fact, at one point during the stream, they did the whole quest line to unlock the blacksmith, which involved finding this helm and then carrying it to a nearby building where they found the NPC with some fighting that occurred in between. We also got a sneak peek of the social hub that has quest NPCs, vendors, and this is where other players will be running around. And they showed us a little bit of the underground cave system. These are located beneath elder trees found in the world, and this is where the big bear creature is going to be found. Now, as the stream went on, not only were they playing the game, but they also were talking about it, sharing some info about their plans and goals. They said that with Soulframe, they really intend to lean very heavily into these action RPG elements. They're going to have different skill trees for each weapon class, so as you use a weapon, you're going to level it up, and then you get points which you use to unlock new abilities and functionality in that weapon's trees. So for example, for the long blades, we saw the skills to unlock the ability to parry, to do a weapon throw, to increase your stagger damage and bonus crit, just to name a few. The packs, these are basically like class archetypes, and they come with their own skill tree as well as a unique pack weapon, and this acts as like a secondary weapon that can be used as a weapon, but it is also used to cast many of your pack skills. So for example, here it would be like the Fey Pact fulfills this stealth archer fantasy. You have access to this special ancestral bow, and you use it to attack enemies, but you can also turn yourself into a butterfly, which acts as your invisibility, letting you sneak up and backstab enemies. And then also in terms of abilities, they have gone back and forth between having cooldowns or filling a resource in combat, which you use to cast your skills. As of now, they are settling on the cooldown system, so you will cycle between different cooldowns cooldowns while in combat. And they spent some time talking about the fact that they're trying to find a balance between self-discovery and exploration while not being too obtuse. They actually referenced the fact that from surveys of recent tests, a lot of players didn't even realize that they had a crafting system in the game, presumably because they don't have some like main story quest line that gives you a direct marked location of exactly where you go and how you unlock the blacksmith. Instead, it was just something that you had to stumble across in the world. They're going to be fine-tuning this because while they still want the sense of exploration and discovery, people should know that there's blacksmithing in the game and crafting. And if they don't stumble across it, completely missing out on an entire progression system, not great, right? So they're still working on that. They want the exploration, they want the discovery, they don't want to be too obtuse about this stuff. All right, we got some details at the end of the stream from a quick Q&A. This revealed that there is going to be player trading, so you can get items and then trade it with other players, and that
love to hear it. Love to hear it. Okay, you know, I like player trading. I love, like, if I'm playing with my friend or something and they get a weapon or a piece of armor or something that they can't use, I can be like, hey, well, I got this, some piece of gear or something that I can't use. You want to just trade or something? Or, you know, you may come across a player, be like, hey, I'm selling this for some gold or whatever it's going to be in this game, and be like, yeah, I can take that off your hands. I got plenty of gold. Here, take this. Take the gold and give me the weapon. Cool. I like trading, okay? I know it comes with its downsides too. I'm not stupid, okay? Scratch that. I am stupid, but I do understand, like, it comes with downsides. But, you know, I just like having, like, the option, you know? If I'm working hard and beating hard activities, hard bosses and stuff, and I get stuff that I can't use, you know, yes, I can just go to a vendor and probably sell it, but probably won't be for that much. I would rather you know, find another player and be like, you know, they play as this class and they need this weapon. Like, hey, you want this weapon? Well, I can, you know, sell it to them, you know, on the low, 100 gold or something, or I can just, like, well, I really need gold or whatever the currency is in this game. You really want this weapon? You're gonna have to buy it for this much. Now, you can probably help me do, if you want to come play with me and do some activities, and, you know, I'll probably cut the price in half or whatever, you know? I love the options. There's so many things you can do with trading. I just want the option. I hate when these developers just don't give us the option at all for anything. Like, come on, just give us the option. Like, for Warhammer Space Marines 2, you can't play PvP with your console friends if you're on PC. You don't have the like, just give us a switch. If people on console don't want to play with PC players, give them or me or anyone the option just to turn it off. They just took away the option for us. We have no say or anything about it. I hate that. I do love the game. I do love the developers, but that's one thing. It's one problem I have with the games. Like, you can at least give us the option. But anyways, I'm just talking. You know me. I can just keep talking.
They're going to be ramping up testing very soon, increasing the number of players invited every week. Plus, on top of that, going forward, anyone who gets an invite in the future is also going to receive 4 extra keys whom they can give to whoever they like. So there's a lot more people are going to be getting into the game in the not too distant future. Then after that stream, most recently, people are going to be getting extra keys forward. Anyone increasing the number of players invited and that they're going to be ramping up testing very soon, increasing the number of players invited every week. Plus, on top of that, going forward, anyone who gets an invite in the future is also going to receive 4 extra keys whom they can give to whoever they like. So there's a lot more people are going to be getting into the game in the not too distant future. Then after that stream, most recently...
Okay, hey, if you're out there and you get a key, I would love you forever. And send me a key. I would love to hop into this game and give my thoughts on it and everything. You know, just to let you know. Send a key, please. I hate begging, but that'd be awesome.
Just a few days ago, we got a second devlog, and here's what info we got there. We saw some showcases of that root warping tech in action, which again is there to help reduce that sense of skating or sliding around. When you're attacking a target with something like a lunge, it's going to extend the transition of that animation so that there's less sliding before and after it takes place. They've done additional combat and AI improvements. These include an increase in simultaneous enemy attacks with smoother weapon equipping and improved positioning during fights. Enemy patrols now feature varied starting and ending points. This prevents endless circling. AI behavior, navigation, and animations have all been refined with new flinch reactions, enhanced movement, and that root warping to deliver a more grounded and fluid feeling combat. Enemies now also display a stagger UI that fills during battle. They've overhauled the entire stagger system in conjunction with the animation side of improved hit reacts. The degree of any hit react is going to depend on the type of attack you strike them with, whether it's a slash from your weapon, a kick, or casting a spell. And then the higher the damage, the harder hitting the strike, basically, the enemies are going to react accordingly, as you would expect. And they talk about having reined in the previously strong two-tone color grading in the game to try to make the visuals appear a bit more natural. At the end of this, we got another Q&A. Some tidbits from that include they're going to be opening up the game to a much wider audience in 2025. Previously, they were planning this for 2024, but as we have covered here, they've been busy doing a lot of work to improve and polish the combat animations and all of that, so this got pushed out a bit. And then presumably at some point in 2025, the opening up of access is going to include either open test or founders packs that you could buy to get early access. In the meantime, though, as mentioned, they're ramping up invites and they're giving out 4 friends and family keys to anyone who gets invited, inviting even more people. They reiterated the fact that despite Soul being in the game name, this is not meant to be a Souls-born, Souls-like game in the vein of a Dark Souls or Elden Ring. That's not the kind of game they're making. It's more traditional action RPG with heavy through lines to a game like Warframe. You've got the open world areas, you've got the social hubs, you've got the dungeons with procedural layouts and everything that we've discussed. And in terms of multiplayer and playing with your friends, the current max group size that they're planning is 4 people. They are going to have the social hubs where you can meet up with other people. And then also, while you're out exploring the world, they're going to have some system where you can see the souls of other players, and they're working on ways you'll be able to interact with or invite them to your party. We also got from the most recent test some public patch notes, not under NDA. This is all available just right on the Soulframe website. And a couple of interesting things from here. There's the new arts system, so packs and weapons can now be leveled up through combat to unlock unique arts. Weapon arts allow envoys to customize their playstyle with specialized bonuses like smite, perfect throw, and more. Looks like they are going with the classic RPG weapon rarity and colors, so weapons fall into these rarity tiers with common, uncommon, and rare. There's also going to be these virtue and skill requirements for each tier. If a virtue requirement is unmet, you deal 50% less damage. So it's not going to be something that prevents you from using these weapons, but you won't be as effective unless you reach certain stat thresholds, essentially. And they added a few more new weapons to the game, including a swift sword, daggers, a polearm, a new sword and shield, and a brand new bow. So with all that said, I gotta say, the TennoCon showcase had its issues without question. A lot of it looked really janky, but I think they've done a good job of addressing that feedback so far. Namely, they've not shied away from it. If anything, they've been embracing the complaints, saying, yeah, we totally agree, this stuff needs work. And in just the handful of months since that TennoCon gameplay, we can see those improvements in action. Like these latest gameplay reveals, the stuff from these devlogs, as well as the stuff from that live stream, this all already looks better. And it's only been a couple of months of them working on making it better. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I think the game is looking pretty good, frankly. As mentioned, many more people are going to be getting their hands on Soulframe very soon in the coming weeks and months. They are inviting more testers as well as giving those 4 bonus keys that they can hand out to anyone. When that happens, by the way, I'd recommend going to the subreddit or forums because people are probably going to be giving these away if they don't have 4 friends readily available who would want to take them. So odds are, if you want to try the game, you're going to have the opportunity to do so very soon. Like I said, I remain hopeful. I'm pretty impressed with how they have received the feedback and addressed a lot of these issues. I mean, they pretty much immediately went forward and did something to address the sliding issue, the lack of groundedness, the skating around the environment. Like that's like one of the first things that they address, and they've clearly already made improvements on. That's impressive, right? As mentioned, the game is in pre-alpha, still a long ways to go. Early access launch isn't happening until probably later in 2025. I'm keeping my hopes up for Soulframe, not gonna lie, I really am. I mean, Warframe has proven that this developer will stick to a game and continue to add to and improve it over time. That game's been going strong for 10 plus years. Maybe they'll be able to do the same with Soulframe as well, but already I like what I've seen in such a short window. They revealed something, feedback wasn't great, they addressed the feedback head on, it's looking better. That's about all you can ask for as far as I'm concerned. So there you go, that's gonna do it for today. That is the update on Soulframe. Stay tuned.
Great video. Before I start talking my ass off, Forge Gaming, I like him a lot. Give his video a like, subscribe to him. He does very excellent content. But you know, I'm not gonna keep you here too long. The game looks amazing. It looks, like I said before, I have played their games before. I played a lot of Warframe back in the day with my friends, but you know, after we got older and started having to do adult stuff and everything, and friends stopped playing and everything, I stopped playing too. But for me, this game, I like how this game looked, the aesthetic of it, the combat, a lot more than Soulframe. So I can see myself playing this game a lot more. But like I said before, I hate doing this. I'm a small YouTuber, so if you want to help a little tiny YouTuber out and streamer, send me a code if you get one, because I actually really want to play this game as soon as possible, and I would really appreciate it a lot. Yes, I'm begging. I hate it so much, but I would really appreciate it. And you know, I'll do something for you. Not, that didn't sound right. Not like that, but you know, I'll help you out somehow. But enough of my begging like a poor puppy. Like I said, give his video a like, subscribe to him. Like my video, leave a comment on my video. Okay, what you think about this game? Are you gonna play it, or you're not gonna play it? You don't like how it looks or whatever. And subscribe to my channel. Ring that bell for more videos. And like I always say at the end of the video, come on, if you ever make it this far, you should know what I'm gonna say already. Have a good day or night whenever you're watching this. Peace.